Hello, everybody. My name is John. Welcome to Freaky Table. My dear friends Yana and Co are joining me in the house. We've got other guests. Before we continue, happy Women's Day to all the women across the world and our female fans all over Cameroon and outside Cameroon. Hope you guys are doing great. And to all our mothers, by the way, happy Women's Day. The female guardians, the sisters, nieces, happy Women's Day to all of you. So today we are going to be talking about something very interesting, the MeToo movement, which kicked off way back in 2006, I guess, on MySpace back then. And over the years, it has evolved, addressing various situations that which has been happening in various workspaces, in our lives, in our neighborhoods, everywhere. And today we are going to be bringing this into the African entertainment scene. And joining us to discuss that, we have activist, blogger, and PR. Fleur is in the building, as well as my dear friend and son, Dibenja, is in the building as well. You guys, welcome. And welcome to you people. You guys, I'm not even telling you guys welcome. We're always here. We have to be welcoming our guests. Yes. Woman, at least we have another female in the house. Welcome. You look beautiful, by the way. And shout out to all of you. Welcome from the Hatsu, Mama.
What's happening?
Out of respect for women. Out of respect for women alone, yeah. So today it's all about the Me Too movement. This movement has been going on for years. And it really, really intensified when the Hollywood star Harvey Weinstein was arrested and accused of sexual harassment and molestation and assault on several women in entertainment in Hollywood. And so today it's now a thing. Various voices have been raised. Women have come out to tell their own stories of sexual assaults at work, at home, at the community that they find themselves. So what do you think? You're here. I'll be following you on social media. You've been addressing one story after the other, sexual harassment, molestation, rape, everything. So what do you think about this Me Too movement?
Actually, the Me Too movement, like we all know, started in 2006 rather, but actually came to the limelight in 2017 and has been more like very active in the Western world. Started in Hollywood, America, and then UK, France, India. Yeah. But in Africa, it has been really slow. It has been really slow, but not absent. And
is there a reason for the slowness of it?
Yes, I think one of the reasons is the patriarchal culture. Yeah, women fearing backlash. One of the reasons why I think it's really slow is because most women fear backlash. There's really a backlash that comes with speaking up, and also there is really no systems that are put in place to maybe bring justice or apprehend.
Okay, so the men who commit this.
Yeah. And for most victims and survivors of sexual abuse or sexual violence are not really given the support. Because it's one thing to speak up, but then after you speak up, what next? There's really no support, that's given to these people. Because people do react to sexual assault, sexual violence differently. And so are there any systems there are really no systems that are put into place to help these victims heal? Because everyone's healing journey is different. So there's really no follow-up.
Right. This year we are celebrating women all over the world, Cameroon inclusive. So we're celebrating women. The southern Cameroons, like the English-speaking side of Cameroon, have gone through hell for the last probably 5 years. And women in these regions have derived all sorts of ways to survive in life. Plus the fact that they are going through this sexual harassment and violence every single day of some of them their lives. And what would you have to tell these women, the mothers, sisters, nieces, just the girls next door?
I think I should first of all disavow of the idea that I'm an authority to tell women what is good for them, that in itself is problematic. So, so I can only have the discussion and hope that I learn. And what I share is what I've learned from the discussions, because as a guy, I know that in a sense, there are some favors that come with just being that. And I think that the crisis, for example, has disproportionately affected women and children first. And that because we fall in a society where historically women have been economically and politically disadvantaged, um, the crisis would deal with them harsher. And so their survival is even much more tenuous. The the one thing I know growing up from a single family is with a single mother is that women generally constitute the backbone of the family unit and society. All too readily, the statistics speak for themselves. And so when this crisis hit, um, the impact was felt largely by women who completely uprooted their lives, had to readjust, and they've shown a lot of resilience. But society takes no stock of the difficulties that they are going through, and so there are no opportunities for young girls really there. So girls have to come up with fresh ways beyond the normal ways that are acceptable in society. They have to come up with. So we've seen a lot increase in unwanted pregnancies. We've seen increase in commercial sex workers, and we've even seen increase in general abuse of women. And my advice, it really feels tongue in cheek, but first is that it's from a place of policy, that the government has to be much more laser focused on how to make sure that people who are affected, as we all are affected by this, are properly adjusted, that the women are given more tools in terms of training, handiwork, and all of that, so that they can survive this mayhem that we're going through. So far, women have been doing a fantastic job, and that's not trying to win more favors. I'm sure I'm reading their good books, but I think that we have to do a lot more for the girl child and for our mothers and sisters.
You mentioned so many points there. What has increased when it comes to the effects of or the impact of the crisis on young girls. Dibenja, you have online or social media, girls have constantly been bashed, especially boya girls in quote. Comedians come at them, normal guys come at them, even married people come at boya girls, always claiming that they are materialistic. They always demand for money. They could do anything for money, even including sending news, whatever. So many things thrown at women. Every little opportunity that is given. And I've seen you constantly fight against that on social media. But when you see all these posts coming at young girls, we are seeing some of the effects right now. Like these are serious effects from so many things, from home to the crisis itself. Like what comes to mind when you see all of these comments and posts?
Okay, it worries me a lot. First, sometime last year, I got into trouble with some comedians because I tried to say that, okay, they should maybe adjust the way they throw their jokes. Maybe they could look for something else rather than only objectifying boya girls or saying boya girls are materialistic. Why not create something else? Why go at these girls? I mean, who doesn't want to go extra mile to get something that they really want? I mean, you want to go extra mile to get something that you want. So you want to go extra mile. We all as human beings in the world, as human beings, be it male or female, we have that point. We have that particular thing that we want, that we be like, okay, we can go extra mile to achieve it. So why always throw shade at this girl? So it worries me a lot when I see people come at girls all the time, like, okay, they are materialistic, or they'll go extra mile just because they want to have something, maybe flashy things or stuff. So it actually worries me a whole lot.
For the fact that you stood against a group of guys, that's normal enough. That's bravery.
So they say I was a sellout. So I was a sellout among guys. Like who put you like the mouthpiece of these girls to talk about? Like I'm like, no, it's not. You guys should.
It's cultic, is it that a group will just decide to spell principles of manhood for you?
And this is always a situation of social media where if this guy is decides to stand up for women, the men who are attacking the set of women or the woman say, but we're not going to hit that. She's not going to let you beat. Which means the idea is when a man is stepping up or standing up for a girl or a woman in a position of suppression or oppression, they feel like the man's aim is to hit.
Yeah.
So that's and they reduce bigger issues to just that, which sometimes I find it very, very laughable.
That is exactly what they said to me when they were like, okay, you're trying to get favor from these girls, maybe because you're trying to ask someone out, and then you feel like maybe you come to. That's why it was one of my comment on my post, like, okay, if you want to ask a boy again, I'll go ahead and do that. Don't try to use us to maybe win them out.
I should say something. Just before you say the more intelligent thing, that. I don't know, you know this more, but I have a problem with the language that we use sometimes when we talk about how men come to support women, when we say stand up for them, that it in a sense put women at a position of being helpless. I don't know.
No. See, I just before you step in there, I definitely get the language and the tone, right? It should not be about you. Like you said, it makes them look helpless, which is not really the case. I'm saying when a woman is facing backlash on social media, generally, I'm talking about
support.
Yes, okay. Let's use the word show support. Yes, showing support for her cause.
Yes,
it's seen as it's interpreted as a man wanting something extra. So anyway,
looking forward to getting lead.
Yes, good for to get it.
Speaking about extra things and let's just stay with that whole thing in that thought. In entertainment across Africa, even perhaps abroad, the Harvey Weinstein situation showed us that even Angelina Jolie could be asked to do some certain things that she doesn't. She is a huge star. So when you come to entertainment, musicians, actresses, fashion designers, even female comedians, media, TV hosts and PRs and all of that, they are being subjected to accepting or going against their normal values in life just because the man thinks that you have to do this for me to do this for you. This exchange of services or whatever that happens behind closed doors, like, does that hamper the growth of females in entertainment? Is it even present? And then
First of all, I believe everyone has a choice. You always have a choice. So if you somehow decide to go into, I call it transactional sex or whatever, it's a choice. It's your choice.
So you believe that when you say yes, you shouldn't come out and cry?
No.
When you're in a position where you're lesser in the game of power, don't you think you're bound to succumb? Do you really have a choice? Are you not bound to succumb by the circumstances in which you find yourself in?
You have a choice to let go
and then suffer. Not really.
Yeah.
It's not about policy now. That really governs these industries.
There's an exchange. All right, you're giving yourself for a service or for a favor. It's an exchange.
To what he's saying, I give you a much more concrete example, which I think that this is much more exemplary of how abuse permeates itself within society and how women are disadvantaged by it, or those who are the lesser people in society are disadvantaged by it. Not that women are, if you're not in a position of power. So I'm a teacher, right? And I have students under me in the university, and I say, I start asking the student out whom I teach, and the student is caught between saying no and thinking she might be victimized, saying no and thinking, but it will become awkward after that. What is really her choice? Especially if the system does not guarantee a means towards addressing abuse like that.
Well, first of all, I think that there's been so many campaigns that's in giving voices to vulnerable women. Like in the past 3 years, from 2017, there've been several campaigns. For instance, like in Kenya, we had the My Dress Is My Choice. My Dress Is My Choice, a campaign that had protesters in the streets of Nairobi after a lady was abused at the bus stop. We've had the Men Are Trash campaign by South African women that challenged men, like you're talking about support for men, challenged men to like add their voices to the prevailing cases of sexual abuse and femicide. And recently, talking about going back to what you cited, there was a campaign like in Nigeria, this was university students coming out to narrate, Sex for Great campaign. So there's always a choice. It's different now. There are several ways through which there are organizations, there are civil society organizations, there are activists. There are several ways people can seek help right now. It's what the situation now is not the same 5 years back or 10 years back. So that's why I feel there's always a choice.
Fleur, the thing is, when you talk about it being always, and there always being a choice, right? Now, you have this girl, the same situation I just talked about. Now, the people she's going to be, the civil society she may go to, or the support group she may go to, and the person she's reporting may be a high-ranking official. I know there's always this idea of protecting these people. Or let's take a case for University of Boya, where there have been several cases, and these cases have been swept under the rug, where a lecturer who is in an authority university, not just an ordinary lecturer, an authority university in a department, is harassing students to trade their sex for grades, right? And there's been consistent cases in a particular department. Now, this lecturer who is an authority at the department, you have to report somebody, and if you have to report him to anybody, it's to him. How do you start judging that right now? Because you find that these students now, the only choice they have is to succumb to the authority, and then when they find themselves out of that position, they try to report these cases. But when they are out and they're able to try to document these cases, it goes nowhere. So that's where
Usually it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Usually, most universities across Africa, it's not just in Cameroon. Most universities, the issue in Nigeria, for instance, I started studying postgraduate course at Unilag, and believe me, it's like every day there is a sexual report or sexual harassment report from a female student about a lecturer or some authority or administrative person in the university. It's like every single day. Now you're asking, I was sitting down there and listening and said, okay, if 10 people report about someone, one particular thing, there must be some kind of truth about this situation. Even if I'm taking it to the police or the highest ranking person in that university or whatever scenario that we find, as whether it's an office or something, there must be somebody, this thing is not a lie, right? But constantly, nobody does anything to these people. You report, you don't report, you pass the exam or you don't pass it, you stay 6 years in the university or not, the person still remains there. His position still remains. You might stay in that university for more extra years. So how do you battle this situation now? You say that the person doesn't have a choice. Do I just sleep with this person and get my grades and get out from this place? Or do I, I mean, you have to move.
There are means that you can actually report police harassment and you'll be taken care of. But you know where we find ourselves, the situations where we find ourselves whereby you get harassed, but you take this, I've seen a situation where somebody gets harassed on the street of Monaco and then they get up there, and then these authorities, because they have this thing among themselves, that they cannot discipline among themselves, they turn it around and put it on you. So I believe that just like that, and as well as sexual harassment, there are situations where you don't have a choice. You keep standing on the point that you always have a choice in everything in life. But there are these organizations out there, but I haven't really seen, for example, in Cameroon, I haven't really seen how powerful these organizations are. I haven't seen someone who comes out and says something about this person, because I've seen a couple of cases out there on social media where people have reported these cases that they have been victimized like that. But I haven't seen what these organizations have done for these people. like, okay, I come out and say, okay, this person is trying to do this. Like, you should give me the example of the university. I haven't seen these organizations come up and help these people who have been victimized like that. So
Actually, yeah, but since La Fleur's on the spot, let me see. I would think that the organizations, and I've seen them work here, first of all, are there to provide a safe space for which victims of abuse, especially systemic and one which is gender-based, can actually come and report their stories in the hope that they can be amplified. So this virtually providing a voice to them. I know that in the cases that we've had in the university, these organizations, in fact, one of the reasons why we even know about these cases is because these organizations have gone the extra mile of actually documenting, presenting the reports of their findings to the university, and actually actively seeking to press litigation against the accused if the university does not take action. The first thing is the system in most of the systems in the different universities sometimes do not have the structures that can provide victims with avenues to air out that even anonymous spaces. So these organizations act as those voices, and they are able to document it, provide counseling to the victims, support. Just putting you out there on blast that you are a predator. It's actually, it helps a lot, in terms of stepping down. I think that much more has to be done. Of course, much more has to be done. But I'm just saying these organizations have been doing that, and we do not want to pass across the message that these organizations are completely powerless. Without which we are also telling victims that
it's not for them. It's not for them.
In Cameroon, in particular, just case study, right? We have very, very, very few female artists compared to the number of male artists that we have. And some of the young girls who want to perhaps do music, they'll be like, I beg. I don't want that. I don't have to go and be, sleeping with DJs and general. They'll tell you that, like, I rather just look for something else to do than do music or go into acting. We've had several cases come on social media where girls come and say, the director asked me to sleep with him before I take a role. The producer asked me to sleep. We've had that. And nothing has been done, really. Even within the movie industry, we see people protecting the predators. Like, we know that these things happen. Some of the young actresses refuse to even come up with their stories because of fear that their life will be ended or their careers are going to just, end before it starts.
Yeah.
Right.
And the reason.
So how do we fight all of these things now? What are we supposed to do?
A long talk about them not being just to talk about people not believing them. It's also the issue of supposed victims coming out with stories which, when investigations are being carried out, they find that these cases are false. So, which means 1 step ahead, 10 steps backwards, because you find that when society, you wouldn't know it's a society which doesn't really call the whole people accountable for their actions, especially sexual abusers. So if you're going to put out a story out there when you know the story is false, how does that help? You
help the person who has a true story.
Who has a true story? Because what you're doing there, you're taking the course 10 steps backward. There's even a case in India where a publicist went on a whole campaign to paint the image of an actor, and it went on for so long, and the guy even lost his life. Just forgot. Oh my God! Yeah, so you see.
Even back here, just to add what you were saying, even back here, a female video vixen went and accused an artist of getting her pregnant. At the end of the day, realized that the guy had nothing to do. In fact, the guy was not the father of the child. And then she Blanche Jenny, I don't know, Jenny Blanche accusing Kosi of being the father of her child, and ended up that was untrue. And then all of this, a couple of years after, due to threats from Kosi's PR team and all of that, she ended up saying that no, Kosi is not the father of her child. Now, how do you deal with that lie and the actual victims of these sexual assaults and molestation and everything?
First of all, in the Cameroon media space entertainment, people are still very timid about these conversations. About so many people are not willing to speak up. Yeah, because due to shame, stigmatization, the sometimes character assassination. Because you see, for instance, the case of Daphne. See, when she talked about her rape experience. See, so many people doubted her. Other people who started naming her lovers and all that. So this really, if it's take for instance a woman of caliber of Daphne, she has the exposure, she has a voice, and she still faces this backlash. So imagine maybe someone who doesn't have any backing. It really makes it difficult.
Yeah.
But Fleur, as somebody who speaks up about these things and really advocates for the rights of people, of women, do you think that when people come up with stories which are not quite true, that it, since because of the situations they find themselves in, it takes the movement or the efforts to bring justice to these people 10 steps backwards? You think they should face equal punishment for people who actually have for people who are committing crime? Should they face the same punishment?
I think they should.
Okay.
I think they should. And for people who want to speak up, I think that they should. If you're coming out to talk about your experience, there should be some. Sometimes it's difficult to bring evidence, especially if it happened. For most women that were maybe abused at an early age, it's really difficult.
Yes, and even I mean that's primarily the cause why women cannot come. That's the excuse why they've not been able to. Most women have not been able to, who are victims of this, have not been able to come up to share their stories, because abuse usually comes from a known source, someone whom you generally close and comfortable with, and so often the relationship itself is judged because people might think, because I can be friends with Fleur, and we are parading. I'm friends with you, and parade our friendship everywhere on social media. Supposedly, I abused you, and you come up and say it. People are like, but the friendship itself, there must have been, there must be some form of consent there. You really liked him, and that.
So what she's trying to say is that when you're going to these people's offices, please put on your
Put your recorder on.
Put your recorder on or something. Yeah, please.
If we get to expose some of these people, it's going to curb the occurrence. So
I find it very fascinating because I remember is it actress Mavis Ann had come up with some story about when the Daphne rape story came up about the producer of Shaman's Diary, and I felt like whether that story was true or false, and I think that majority of stories that we hear about rape and about abuse are true. And that perpetrators of abuse generally use a few instances of lies to negate the overwhelming truth about how these things permit. So I was really shocked because I've always felt like sometimes the problems that women face, the first problem is women. Because they kind of, I don't know how true that story was, but to dismiss it on the surface and then sexualize it, make it look like she was desperate for attention and all of that. Like society was actively unwilling to hear the story, whether true or false. And you can imagine, okay, now another victim stands there. I'm not saying she's a victim. I'm just saying, imagine this were true, and another person stands there and is looking at what is happening to her, and the backlash she's getting for saying something which, might be true, and she thinks about how do I see this when it is a crop of women who would actually come.
People who should normally even supporting
Be
you.
keener to. I'm
Yeah.
like, just be keener to
understand where she's
Yes.
coming from. What
I'll go back to the case of Daphne when she made her outing. Some of the people who came at her were women. Yeah. So, and women who were supposedly activists, some of them too. So
I had an argument with one of them. I think woman is too much of a word for her. That who could not believe, because her own experience has not been that gory. She could not believe that this girl could go 10 years traumatized in a level where she could not have sex. Apparently, she cannot go a day, so she thinks that everybody, even in the face of trauma, could not. And she was using her femininity to invalidate the story of another woman.
I feel that sometimes when people go through certain traumas, they begin to feel less empathy towards other people.
So you're saying that they become their default setting is just okay. Well, move on.
Yeah,
Let's
I've
just
been through
continue.
this.
Yeah.
You have been through this, so you move on. I've moved on.
But you're moving on is different from my own. Can you move on your own way?
Differently to trauma. That's one thing we need to come in terms with.
but see, guys, in all of this, Dibenja just
So I wanted to talk about the issue of family, because I've seen instances where somebody gets victimized in a family and the family gets to cover it up. Like okay, and I've seen an instance where an uncle violates a niece, and then some kind of way because they're trying to cover the image of the family, and they try to cover it up. What do you guys think about that whole?
I mean, I experienced that firsthand with a cousin of my age, sleeping with a minor, and they were trying to get a discussion about the way forward. Like trying to sort it out. I was like, in my head was like, but I don't know, like, what are you trying to sort out here? This is a girl, she's 13. This guy is 30. You're trying to, I mean, what image are you trying to protect, from that? This girl has been traumatized by a lot of things,
Oh God,
And to imagine that you're trying to have a discussion and what you're thinking is about the family's name. Like what family name are you trying to protect when you have a child molester?
Just throw him behind bars.
It's arguments like this that cause a lot of people to stay in abusive marriages and stay in situations which they are uncomfortable because they are scared of what people would think, of what society is going to think. And to me, there's another question here which I'm going to flip it, because there are these arguments about what women can do in that position. What about the idea of consent? Because sometimes you find cases where a woman is being raped, and the guy says, "Well, she took up her slipper, she went to my house." People are not able to understand what exactly consent is. Where had you have consensual?
So you might be hustling it.
Yeah, you.
I say hustle now.
Yeah. So she may be showing all the green lights, and then the moment where it's supposed to happen,
and it says
stop.
No. You know how somebody says no, and then because of there are people who have never had that experience. There are people who say that the girl said no, and then by the time they got into doing the argument, like more. Yes.
Or people say that. Yeah.
The issue of consent, right? I got into an argument sometime with some people, and is it actually possible that a couple, like you guys are married, living in a home, and the man is accused of raping his wife?
Yes, it's possible. See, as difficult as it is for you to believe it, it happens because the thing is, it's about being in that space to accept the action, right? So when the moment you're sometimes the way people treat relationships is about being just extremely possessive. Okay, well, you're mine. So anytime I want it, I can get it. So they miss the point of the fact that this person may not be in that position to want at that moment. And the moment you violate the person's right to say no, it's a crime. It's rape. So, yeah.
Do you think that women might have played a role I'm not talking about the ones who lie.
Yeah, those ones are
I'm
not talked
talking
about.
about the ones who give the wrong signals
Yeah.
Yeah.
to men, the ones who have perpetuated pepper selling in such a way that men think, okay, if I have power, I can get you through,
If
this
I have
and
money,
that.
I can just pay off and
Yes,
then everything is fine.
And that, do you think that women have played a role in that?
First of all, it's yes is a yes and no is a no. So even if you're 80% gone into the action and she says no, it is a no.
Wait, so
That
let
was
me
the last topic.
let me understand this one. This 80%, this 80% thing, like 80 means you're already inside.
You're already inside. He says no.
So 20 means that you have not yet just,
just
somebody,
the
because I feel at that time you don't know what no means. So
Yeah.
you're like, no, oh
Take it easy.
Oh my
I'm not going to make light of this.
Sometimes somebody will say that. Somebody said that a no means some people say no, that means yes.
No, a no is a
Actually,
no.
you heard the guys who
Yeah.
I don't think I think with the rise of the MeToo movement and the whole women empowerment and fighting against sexual all these things, believe me, except you are really that stupid that if a woman says no, you interpret it as yes. I don't think in this era you want to be in that position.
Yeah, I said men should be wary of women who give wrong signals.
Yeah, how do you know wrong signal? Because
they seem to be
If she's indecisive,
Yeah, jumping from one, just dancing around the answer.
you know there's some sort of fun, right? In
the tension.
the tension. Sometimes.
Papa, take that affordable.
No, I'm sorry. No, see.
If your career is on the line and somebody is dancing around, dancing.
What about people who are in casual relationships, yeah? Where you're trying to throw con, you're trying to get this girl, and you're actively trying to get her attention, and there's this, and when you get attention, you both start playing a game where it's about just tensioning the whole two can play the game, and then when she finally realizes that, well, this thing is not what I want, you have been led on for so long, you've seen a lot of green light, you feel like, well, I should just continue from here. Meanwhile, she's in different. I'm not saying it justifies. I'm saying that at some point there's some fun in you having in there being some tension in you trying to establish a relationship with somebody.
Have you had that tension?
No, not that she's feeling me. It's not about me. It's about.
I'm just asking.
No,
yes, now,
relax. Don't make it about me.
I'm asking if you've had the tension of having mixed signals and all what you've said, and then the girl says no, and you still just insist.
No. First of all, just
the head.
Just the tip. Just give no.
That's not your shoulder.
First of all, it's a lot of stress going through that process of trying to actually get someone. To me, it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of work.
But I think that at the end of it, where even if you're like 80% gone, if she says no, my brother, take all the manliness in you. No, hold on, no. See, you don't know where your end can come. It's that stupidity, that moment of I've struggled to this point. I have done this. I've done this. That would take your head.
I totally get that very well. I'm trying to open the discussion about what happens in a situation where these things happen, because it's a reality we see every day on social. Where there's this doctor in the UK. There's a case where this girl went to the UK and then they had consensual sex, and then she comes months later and tries to blast this guy on social media.
Yeah, it happens with Chris Brown.
So the issue is what I'm saying is probably their relationship before that. There's been a cat and dog game, we call it, where cat and mouse game rather. Yeah, cat and mouse game. That's it. Where you do this, I do that. You give me a green light. I try to. That's what I'm saying. That how do you?
It was consensual or it was.
The point people should just be clear about what they want.
But I think is that not the reason why we have the lawyers to determine in court whether that actually the assault actually happened and for what reason, what provoked it, and all of that logic that goes in the court of law.
Do you also think that feminism is trying to emasculate men? I'll give you an example. That if I'm talking to you, and I'm talking to you, and I'm doing this, right? And I open the door to the car for you and do all the other things which seem chivalry. The tendency is, I remember the accusation that the guy might touch you, and you say you feel violated. I might be talking to you, and I touch you, and I touch you on your jaw, and you feel violated, and I do it to Joan. She's like, like it's not.
Yeah.
So it makes it in such a way that maybe men are unable to know what is it that will really offend a woman.
And like you already said, what John would consider invasive might not be invasive to me. I've had instances where women feel that the question, "How was your night?" It's invasive. Yeah, it's offensive. So different things mean different things to different people.
If I say to you,
But the law remains the law.
if I say to you,
So even if the law remains the law. If at all you find something, I mean, at the end of the day, if they take it to the court, what is the law saying about that particular behavior or however you reacted to it? Because if I touch you and you don't like it, you'll be like, I don't want you to repeat that. Like, say it immediately. Like, I do not want you to touch me that way again. Right? There should be some kind of warning to
text.
Yeah.
I think you have very good boobs,
yeah.
and you find it a form of
It's offensive.
offensive invasion, and that. My question is, does feminism allow room for the idea that even asking somebody out can be awkward? For awkward experiences, you understand? Like I can know I like awkward experiences. Say I can be able, I can come from a position where I'm awkward in the way I am asking.
Right.
You know, like I say.
But that's who you are. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's an awkward. It might not even be who, but that awkwardness, I might just be overwhelmed in presence, and I'm writing to you. I don't even know what to write, but I want to sexualize the discussion with you or something, and I'm trying to shoot my shot, and I say I love your boobs, and I'm thinking that it's something that will flatter you. So does it give any room for awkward experiences, and then look at intention?
At the end of the day, whatever you do, it's for you to tell the person right there immediately that I do not condone this kind of behavior immediately. But if the person keeps pressing on that, then that's where there's a problem. But if you say it one time, like, I do not want you to say this to me again, I find it very offensive, don't do that again, and then the person keeps going and going, now that's where the problem is.
You have nice boobs, by the way.
See, just a longest point about this sort of compliments. There's always this thing happening on social media where people post their screenshots of men shooting their shot and trying to get their attention, and then women always say that well, if a woman is only offended by a man she's not attracted to. And that is a problem, because you might think she's attracted to you, and we go with that flow, and then there's a problem along the way.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. She answered the question that different people react to different things, and also your relationship with somebody would actually, yeah, exactly. If I mean, this is my best friend, right? If he says that, I say I love your boobs, I'll probably just laugh for a second. Get out from here, like.
Dibenja says it now.
It's a problem.
Talking about percentages, have we gone or not gone at all? I think girls are to be educated on maybe just at the beginning. If you're not interested, you should just say no, I want. Because don't play with somebody's heart. Because there are people just the same way a signal with you is different. It's the same way a signal with you is different. There are crazy people out there.
Girls reserve the right to say, for example, that okay, you are coming for me, you're shooting your shot. Initially, I'm not really interested in you, but I'm like, okay, let me see, just out of curiosity, let me see where this might go to, you know, and
So that's the
after a while, she's like, no, I don't think that this can work. Don't they have that right to
Yeah.
say, I want to? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. That when you're in the act of wooing somebody, you should be ready for whatever outcome, and that abuse cannot be justified by virtue of the fact that the person showed some interest.
I'm not saying that it's justifiable. I mean, what I'm saying is for security reasons, because they are
They're saying a woman is supposed to be, first of all, when you say for security reasons,
Security from who?
from who?
when I say security reasons, because
Why not? Why not a caution?
It's first of all, I find it very offensive to men. Yes, because the undertone, the connotation in statements like that, first of all,
by default.
by default is that
Men are threat.
are a threat to a woman.
I think individually, everybody knows what is right and what is wrong, what you can take and what you can't. No, hold on. We'll have to shut the discussion here because I feel that, like I said, every young girl who is watching this show, or every woman who is watching this show, if you do not like it, say it immediately.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Define that boundary right there so that he knows. If he consistently or continuously do that, then that's where you have a fight to fight or a report to make. But if at all, the man has to say I love you at some point. The man has to try his best to get you. Even if it's just to sleep with you, he will do everything to do that. But if you tell him that, listen, I'm not interested in it. I think 1 month, 2 months into your wooing thing, I'm like, I don't feel it. I need it to stop. Please don't bother me anymore. Don't call my number. Don't do this.
Yeah.
It should end there. If you move past that, then you're on your own. You understand?
But John, there's
Yeah,
also
you're on
something
your own.
about the whole MeToo movement. You know, it really got legs from entertainment and media. Now, at what point do we start questioning the type of content which is being put out there?
Which is an argument.
Yeah,
which is an argument.
Which tries to promote this behavior, because you
Which
find
behavior?
sexual harassment, and rape, sexual harassment in the whole, and also seeing women in a certain light, because you have Instagram comedians who make a living out of sexual jokes, which at the end of the day they have an audience who listens to them, who pays attention to whatever they do. So when they see this behavior, they are bound to think it's normal. So at what point do we start questioning the type of content which producers make?
That show that this behavior is.
Isn't that why we have a regulatory board or the Ministry of Arts and Culture or all these regulations? Just say that's why they are there.
Yeah.
Because you really, I don't know how many producers are producing movies for me to go and be checking out what is the script or what are you. People use their phones to do whatever they want at home. The both of us are here. We don't know what somebody is doing next door. So I don't know what to do personally about that. But I think that's why we are supposed to have regulatory boards, effective ones that say, take this down. We've seen the Karima or whatever. Yeah, advert taken down when the minister says. So we need those kind of things. So if the video is not okay for public consumption of their kids watching, take it down. Mm-hmm. So that's why they are there. We cannot really go around people's homes and try to check what they are doing and how they are doing, or producers, what film they are shooting and what we cannot really do. We don't have the power to do that. And besides, we don't have time to do that. Anyway, guys, so the discussion continues on our YouTube channel. Please drop a comment. What do you think about this whole Me Too movement and the way they address sexual harassment or sexual violation, whatever, on women? We celebrate Women's Day today, and we are extremely very proud of our women, the resilience, the struggle, the surviving nature of our women. Big shout out to you, Fleur, for stopping by. Thank you so much. And all the women who stopped by this show. Thank you. Thank you so much. And also want to applaud the men who stand by women when they are going through stuff, because it is not easy. Some of the men just feel powerful and say, I beg no woman, they handle their matter. But we thank you guys so much for supporting us, for loving us, for fighting for us. Thank you so much. Guys, let the discussion continue in the comment section. Until then, please stay out of trouble. A happy Women's Day to all.
Contact Jungle Studios with which is located at Solidarity Junction, Boya, for all your photography and videography.
The 2021 Sama Randy Youth Right Contest has been launched. It is running under the theme, Dear Cameroon, We Need to Talk. Better Breed Cameroon invites you to engage your fellow citizens and leaders in conversation on what you deem is pertinent for peace, reconciliation, and the way forward. Your paper may take the form of a dialogue, essay, speech, open letter, or proposal as contributor to or facilitator or convener of an inclusive national dialogue. Please visit www.betterbreedcameroon.org for more details.